Hi, Gospel Alliance Church. As I record this fourth week of our Advent meditations, we are in the middle of a quarantine ourselves for Julie and I. We were exposed to COVID, and so, we have to separate ourselves and stay home. Not only that, Julie's sick, and we even have to separate here at home just in case she has COVID, and her test results haven't come back yet. And then there are numerous family members at Gospel Alliance Church that are getting COVID. Fortunately, most of them are not serious, but there's a lot that they're getting the virus right now. There are new mitigation rules that just came into Pennsylvania that limit what we can do as a church and what you and I can do as families this Christmas season. And then there's national dissension still. All this kind of brings about this personal chaos for me, and as you've probably heard me share in the last 18 months, chaos is not good for my soul. And so I'm reminded of what the angels said to the shepherds last week when I shared with you, peace on earth. Peace on earth. Well, how do we define peace? I think we probably define it as the absence of conflict, or the absence of tension, or the absence of stress, or the absence of chaos. Well, at the time of the very first Advent, the first coming of Jesus, it was not very peaceful in the days of Jesus. There was a tension between the Romans and the Israelites, so that a whole group of the Israelites, known as the Zealots, were rebelling against the Roman rule. Then you had the tension that had gone on for centuries between the non-Jews and the Jews, between the Gentiles and the Jews. They hated each other. They just didn't get along. The Jews thought they were better. The Gentiles didn't get along, hated them, persecuted them, and in some cases killed them. Then you had also this ongoing tension between the rich Jews, the Herodians, and the poor common folk of the land. Then, as if that wasn't enough, even within their religion, there was a division in the religious leaders between the Sadducees and the Pharisees. So it was a time of poverty. It was a time of draconian rule by leaders. It was a time of insurgency and calls for secession. There was a time of corruption. Peace on earth, even when there isn't any. Now, why should we have peace on earth? Just because a baby is born? Well, not just any baby. That baby is himself peace. He won't just bring peace, but he is peace. It's the very presence of Jesus that brings peace. Later on, the Apostle Paul speaks of Jesus in Ephesians as being our peace. He brings peace with God. He brings peace between enemies. But more than that, he is peace himself. Matthew introduces more characters into the Advent story. The Magi from the east, probably Persians who studied the skies and the stars like astronomers, and they noticed an unusual star, and somehow they knew, whether it was from ancient writings or even from Jewish prophecy, that this sign was a sign of a king that was being born. So they followed that star all the way to Israel. And after checking in with the local king, Herod, in Jerusalem, they headed off to Bethlehem to find this new baby. Now, what's significant about this event in the first Advent is that they are non-Jews. They're Gentiles. And remember, Jews and Gentiles, they don't mix. They don't get along. There's a hatred. There's an enmity between the two. There's a prejudice. There is no peace between Jew and non-Jews. Peace on earth, the angel says, between enemies. So Jesus brings together Jew and Gentile to worship him, to give gifts to him, to kneel before him. You see, before the King of Kings, all are on equal standing. That is, all are under him. The presence of Jesus brings us to worship. I wrote in my journal the other day, as I've been going through all this, the chaos of what's happening. I wrote in my journal just this. I said, peace is not the absence of conflict, tension, or stress. It is the presence of Jesus. And so as I was feeling, this tension, and we might refer to that as anxiety, the tightness in my chest, I said, well, if I need then to do as the Magi did, to come in to worship Jesus. So I took some time out of the other day, to just come and to sit in God's presence, to meditate on Scripture, to sing through some songs. Even this morning, I came and I worshiped the Lord, and that a song especially, There's Another in the Fire, really spoke to me as to God's presence with me, even in the fire. So, as I'm thinking and reflecting on the Magi coming and the non-Jews with the Jews coming together in peace because of the call that peace on earth with this baby now is here, maybe the peace that I need this Christmas season isn't the absence of conflict, isn't the absence of uncertainty, isn't the absence of chaos, or the absence of holiday busyness, or the absence of bills to pay. Maybe it's not about the absence of anything at all. Maybe it is the presence of someone. So here's my encouragement to you. This Christmas, whether you are at home, or you get to come to worship with other believers, or you get to visit family, or you are all alone, take the time to kneel before the one who is peace and breathe in his peace. Peace on earth and in your heart. May you experience the presence of Jesus this week.